Hi everyone, welcome to Bridge Paranormal, and today we'll be discussing our videos and we'll be revisiting some of them. This is a new series that we're going to be starting
called Bridge Paranormal Beyond. And we're going to revisit some of our previous investigations, different locations that we've traveled to, maybe even show you some videos you may not have seen before, maybe even some extra footage, and we're going to be discussing some of the things that we didn't get to maybe say in the videos at that time.
Or maybe also some more background history that we've learned. Sometimes after we finish our video, we learn something new about those videos. So what we're going to be watching today is, I thought maybe, since I really found this place very interesting, is when we went to Goldfield Ghost Town. I actually found that place very interesting because it was so well preserved. They're still a town. They're self-sustainable. They do everything. They're working to improve the place. And
lots of small businesses, lots of locals that are still living there. The highway goes right through town, and so they're constantly trying to draw people off the highway to get some business.
We actually stopped at one of those places. We never got to show it on our video because we just decided to stop.
Met some really interesting people, local people.
And that's why we wanted to do this series, to talk about all the places that we visited, so that way we can share more information about it. And maybe one of these days you guys can go visit it too.
Or if you've gone and you had the same great experience we had, we'd love to see your comments. So please feel free to add those.
And put in your comments and just, share with us what you've experienced there, or if you have visited or are planning to visit. You can also connect with us in our social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So anyway, we're going to go back to watching our video. The title of this episode was Talking to the Spirits of Goldfield Ghost Town, because we did talk to some of the spirits that are there.
We are in Nevada, out in the desert, and where are we headed to?
We are headed to Goldfield, Nevada.
Goldfield, the mining town, the famous town, the hotel, saloon, cemeteries, so much to see. So when we pulled in, they actually were doing some construction in town. They were doing some painting and some maintenance and some other work.
Hi everyone, we actually made it to Goldfield, Nevada, and here's the Goldfield Hotel right behind us.
This hotel is really cool.
And we're gonna walk.
They're always constantly working on this buildings.
The owner is trying to refurbish, trying to reopen this hotel. They have been for years, and it's just one issue after another.
I think it might be, it's hard to restore things. It's expensive.
They've been working on this for a long
material,
time.
especially if you're trying to restore it to as close as original.
I guess they're working on this place. You can hear it. Concrete plumbing. Goldfield Hotel.
The owner used to do tours, correct? And he doesn't do it anymore.
Yeah, you can hear the generator.
Back when a few other shows have gone there that you might have seen, it was more open to doing tours. They're a little bit more restrictive now.
This is Goldfield.
They had private tours too. I think one person was trying to run the tour. We've never had a chance to do it. It was a little bit out of our range, so we just decided to just drive past it. And there's so many neat structures around the town.
There's so much to see besides just the hotel.
Just looking around.
Like we said, we did not go into the actual hotel.
This is the main road.
And they were actually, at that time, I don't believe they had any tours.
We can go to the cemetery.
Yeah.
Okay, we can do that.
We actually walked around a little bit more in the town. This was in the middle of the week. It was on, I believe,
This was a week.
Thursday or Wednesday,
midweek.
something. But it was midweek. But it was, some of the stores were closed. There were antique stores that were closed.
This is middle of the day. This was around noon.
A bar was open though. You can hear the music playing from down the street.
There were some businesses as it started to get a little later in the day. They were beginning to open for their dinner crowd. So what they were servicing at the time was probably more toward locals, dinner.
And this road was very, very, very busy. Trucks and is it a highway?
It is a highway, and the highway goes right through town, which is probably one of the only reasons this town is actually still surviving. It's not thriving, but it's surviving mostly because of the traffic that goes through, and people like ourselves and yourselves that enjoy visiting these towns and going to the businesses and spending money, reinvesting it into the
That's
community,
correct.
because it is a struggling town. It's a great town, and all the people that we met there were extremely friendly, extremely nice.
And they're trying to improve the place. There were new. We saw some later on in the video. You'll see we saw some new. They were opening up the restaurants for visitors. But it's like I said, that road is so busy. There were big trucks passing by. It reminded me of like the pet cemetery.
Almost, almost had that sort of feeling where the speed limit's of course not that high going through town. You have to slow down to, I believe, 25 through town.
Yeah,
but
it's so
still
quiet, and
very
all of a sudden
busy.
there's just this bunch of cars.
Let's head down here.
Well, we are back on the road, and we are driving.
Oh,
Oh, this is when we decided to go
The cemetery.
to the cemetery.
Yeah, so for some of you who don't know, there actually is a cemetery right outside of town. Actually, there are two parts to the cemetery. There's the main part of the cemetery, and then there's the back down the road a ways through the cemetery. There's the Pioneer Cemetery.
I think that's where we went to first.
And that's where, it's where we wanted to go to first, because that's where the oldest part of the cemetery is located.
You can actually drive in here.
There's more cemetery beyond all of this too. Or we can get out and walk, or we can drive. You want to drive to the far end?
This was almost
Guess I'm not
almost the
used
same
to
time last
being
year.
in the cold,
This was November
I should run
when we
over a little
visited.
bit.
Nights of Pity.
So the weather was starting to get
They have
cooler.
different areas inside the cemetery. That's one of them. They're like different graveyard. They segregated it actually. So that's one of them. Up here, there's one called Elk's Rest. I think they even had like a Catholic one and a Protestant one.
It's a really big
But I
cemetery.
remember Nights of Pit.
It really is
Yes,
actually
remember,
really big. Get out and walk around.
Ghost
You could
Adventures
spend
had a.
you could spend probably hours
An
just walking
episode.
around and looking at all the different gravestones. I think so.
Historical cemeteries
found
are
the
very
old
interesting to see. Get
part
to.
The cemetery, right?
Yeah, this is the
See-
the old Pioneer Cemetery, which is older.
On some of the their headstones, they
Other
say
cemeteries.
the ages. And
We are
a lot of them were
at the
children, and it's very
original
sad.
Goldfield
that harsh
Pioneer
weather.
Cemetery. And this cemetery. How young so many people were, especially children. And if you look in the distance, you can see the building to the right. That building on the right is the Goldfield Hotel. This cemetery used to be located closer to that hotel. They moved the cemetery here, I think in about 1907, because they didn't want. There was an influx of people coming into the town. They said there was like 20,000 people already. There was a train. They didn't want the passengers
A
getting
lot
off
of
the train
workers have
and
also
stepping out onto a graveyard.
from
So the
mining.
people of the town relocated, I think it was around 50 or so graves to this location. And now there are around 150 out here. They closed this cemetery, and then they opened the Pioneer Cemetery, which
When we were actually there, which was near the cemetery, weren't they mining at one point? They were trying to mine something still. I believe they were still doing some mining. They were doing some road construction also, because of this new. I think they were discovered that there was some new silver outcroppings.
That's
that
one
they
of-
were that they were trying to find, and unfortunately, it was right under the middle of the highway. So they were trying to build a bypass to go around the highway. We learned that information from one of the locals who stopped by. It was on the way up north. There was a store there, which was
There was the
Rocks, the
rocks and gemstones and other antique collectibles from around town.
and he told us what was going on because there were so many trucks and so many
Yeah.
workers, and they had to slow down some cars. We weren't sure. I thought were they digging
They
or
were-
fixing
they
the
were-
roads?
They were doing they were doing a bypass on the road so they could examine a new claim that just happened to be where the road was. So they had to move the road so they could see if there actually was anything valuable. Over here, this is the Pioneer Cemetery. We're gonna go over there, check that out too. First, we're gonna take a look at this amazing place.
Just saying hi. We're here to pay respects. Oh, wow. I just got all chilled.
Yeah.
And they're really, really hot.
And it's probably about 60 or so.
Oh, this is when we felt goosebumpy in the hot sun.
Yeah.
I mean, the weather's cool, but this hot sun on you,
Yeah, there was no reason that we were supposed to be getting chills out there.
getting goosebumpy and a little strange feeling, like somebody just.
And this is part of the cemetery that doesn't get visited very often because this is the older part. It's beyond the main cemetery.
And we're not, when we go to cemeteries, we're not there to disrespect anyone. We're there to visit and talk to them because they don't have, and we're not sure if how many people, how often they get visitors. We're there to show them they're still acknowledged and being able to talk to some of the spirits. And I know when we say thank you to them for communicating with us, we don't disrespect them at all.
No, we're always very respectful, as everyone that visits the cemetery should be. Okay, so let's see if anyone wants to talk with us, see what we can pick up on the recorder. Recording. We are at the Pioneer Cemetery in Goldfield.
It's a little windy too.
It was very windy that day, and it got really windy. We've heard that all of these graves were relocated from in town. How does that make you feel?
It's also very quiet.
It's extremely quiet except for the wind. Even though we were near the highway and not that far really from the town, it was just really quiet. Someone tell me your first name, maybe we can come find you. We thought we felt you. Is there many spirits with us?
I just felt chill and I felt wind on my hand that's holding the camera. Is that you?
Yeah, that wasn't wind that touched your hand.
No, that is.
And that wasn't the first time that's happened.
That was really very bizarre for me because I was holding the camera and I felt somebody touching, I guess, touching my fingers.
Almost like a caress down your fingers.
Yes.
I thought I felt something
It
touch
was-
my hand.
It was
Really?
very
Holding-
bizarre.
I am holding a tripod thing with this camera, and on the back of it, behind this camera,
I
I
was
felt
holding it.
something.
On the back
Yes, on the back side of my hand.
It was
like
so
that.
strange.
Felt
I wish
like
I could
somebody was
Explain
rubbed
it. It
their
was,
hand back there.
and it wasn't wind,
Right
but it
there.
felt
I
almost
can't
like
show
a
it because
wind.
I have my. And you were talking and you were doing an EVP, and I didn't want to bug you, but I felt that, like, on the back of my hand.
So we're
A touch. It's a real or wind.
I've
it
never
wasn't
had
cold,
that
it wasn't
before.
any-
Have
It
you
was a
had
touch.
Well, close to that, but not
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
so weird. Okay.
right there.
Not, and it wasn't in daytime. But yeah, okay, so we're gonna.
We are at the Pioneer Cemetery in Goldfield. We've heard that all of these graves were relocated from in town. How does that make you feel? There are quite a few people here. Someone tell me your first name, maybe we can come find you. We thought we felt you. Is there any spirits with us?
I just felt chill and I felt wind on my hand that's holding the camera. Is that you?
Do many
Yes.
people come out here
Yes.
and visit with you? If so, if not, is there something you would like to say? Stopping?
Whoa!
What was that? That was so loud.
Wow.
Wow.
That's creepy.
Oh my gosh, I just
Oh,
got super
what
chills
was
too.
that? Was
When
a
you're
scream.
out there by yourself.
Wow.
it's-
Oh, was it a yell or a scream?
If I don't know. You've been in places at night where you get these things where you don't expect this in the day.
Oh
And
my
it's just-
gosh.
Like a yell.
And you
of
saw us. I
scream.
haven't stopped this camera, and we've been quiet the whole entire time.
There was nothing. You heard it. There was no noise.
Yeah, there's nothing out there.
And there's no one here.
Well, somebody's here.
Let's have a shorter
we'll
one.
do a shorter one.
Yeah, you just heard some
Before we
wind
leave.
on the
Okay.
camera mic, but we never picked up wind at all, wind sounds at all on the EVP on the recorder.
Recording.
The recorder's set to just pick up.
Only
Voice.
voice activated, so the wind will not set it off either.
Right before we stopped, we heard someone make a very loud noise. Can you make that noise again? What were you trying to say? Did you touch the hand holding the camera? Okay, stopping. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, my camera kind of rocked a little bit too.
It's okay. Oops, okay.
Right before we stopped, we heard someone make a very loud noise. Can you make that noise again? What were you trying to say?
Nothing. That was so
Did
clear
you
too.
touch the hand holding the camera?
Yes, I
Stopping?
did
Yes,
touch
I
it.
did.
Words.
It's
I
full,
did
a full.
something.
That was a
Like
full
that, yeah.
response.
Yeah.
Intelligent
Sentence.
response.
Yeah,
That was something.
yeah, they
Responded
actually
right to your
did say
question, and
We're gonna have to figure that one out.
that doesn't
was
happen
like
that
several
often.
words.
So again, if you go to Goldfield, Nevada, and you go through the town, you should get a chance to go to the cemetery.
And they have a hotel, motel over here, and their laundry.
So this is the oldest
Across
bar
from them,
in
Santa Fe
Goldfield.
Saloon.
they have some
Santa Fe
structures,
Saloon.
more-
Original, all original.
It is not stopped
You want a
operating.
No.
It survived the fires. It survived the
That's so
floods.
cool. Oh, watch your step there.
And the reason is because it's on a little bit of a hill outside of town.
They're open till 9.
They have
Functioning.
the functioning
saloon
bar, and they recently added some kind of motel overnight rooms that you could stay in. We did not. And there's a lot of other museum type exhibits around the town. There's some original miners.
Abandoned? I don't know what's
houses.
abandoned and what's not.
And some of the buildings have markers. We had a map
No,
on
that's not what.
The town has a like
But we
a
can't.
a PDF. We found a PDF map online of their.
This is abandoned.
historic houses in
Hey,
town.
isn't it like
They
an
have a
old-
marker, a number.
Yeah.
There's so many of them. They're trying to preserve.
We wanted to see the Goldfield High School, but
Goldfield High School.
there's
And
construction.
so you can see
So that's what it
they
is. Whatever
recently
you see right there,
replaced
that's
the stairs in
pretty
front of
much
the high school to make it more easily
Hey,
accessible
there's
for
an old
tours.
courthouse over here. Well, we stopped here and look what we found. Some old cars. We're in the back of the courthouse. Ghostbusters!
It even had this the
And
bed inside
there's
still.
two
The whole
seats
area
in the
where they
back.
would bring in
The gurney.
yeah,
And a
the
bullet
whole
hole
area
on
where
the
they
other
would
side.
sit in the back.
And
And then somebody would sit on the other side, taking care of them, and this one would be sitting on this
weird.
side.
nice. Some noises in that room in there. I mean that building over there. You can hear it. Did you hear that?
I think the whole town is
Oh, maybe
very
it's just
active.
part of the.
Yeah, it's not
Walls
just
and
the
some-
hotel, it's not just the cemetery
Oh, there's
or
a lot
the
of old
schools.
or the
That's-
schoolhouse.
It's just the
buildings.
whole town.
abandoned. Are these abandoned buildings?
Somebody owns these buildings.
I
mean, there's a
thought they were
curtain here,
abandoned buildings, but I think
Flapping in
some
the
of them are
wind.
being,
Hello?
some are living in it, or some of them are preserved.
Every
Being
building
restored.
in this town, somebody owns
And there's
something
some
in this
old
town.
structures over there.
So you can't just go trespassing into a building.
They have historical markers in it. It says 98 historical marker, Goldfield Historical Society, and there's another one. I have to look that up. You gotta Google that. This is the whole town.
Mhm.
That's the courthouse over there.
1907.
Oh, it does say 1907.
Everything's got a marker on it.
Are there markers on it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is. It says 45.
You want me to tell you what it is?
Oh, you finally got a map.
Yep. Well, I've got a listing.
Right.
Yeah, I found the PDF like I said earlier on my
45.
phone.
And 7
It tells
on
you
your
what each
website.
of the different buildings are.
45 is
45 is the Jenny B. Elder House built in 1908. Some of these houses are very well preserved. Some of them are still being lived in, and some of them are closed up. Beats Garage built in 1930.
And even this house right here, somebody's living in it. I think. It's number 5.
There's somebody is living in there's electricity.
But you can see
There's
that.
window furnishings. They worked on the fence.
Yeah, the landscaping they
One of the two main
maintained.
houses of stone architecture in Goldfield.
This is that house.
And this one's number 6.
So there are people living.
Rickard House, built in 1906. A boxing
You
promoter.
can see sometimes there's no cars, then all of a sudden there's a lot of cars.
There's a manager.
Yeah, there's a ton of cars.
That's a nice house.
Okay, this is the Irish Kurdish Registration Trust Company built in
Oh,
1907.
these were the
The main floor of the business was
banks.
Oxford Registration Trust Company and various other businesses. The second and third floors.
It'd be
other
interesting to
businesses on the
be
second
able to
and
go
third.
in
Those
those
buildings-
buildings. They're
Those
really
buildings
big.
would be really interesting to go in.
Oh, there's a hole in
Aside
there.
from the Goldfield Hotel or the courthouse, which is actually the courthouse is a functioning building. There were people outside on their lunch breaks and we went through there and leaving for the day.
State
the
Historic
banks-
Marker 242.
But this building, it was
And right
multi-story
next to it.
and it was just awesome.
Yeah, it looks also
What is
it
this
looks
building?
very haunted.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I would really like to get into that building.
So are these other ones here?
And I
Unstable.
would imagine what it'd be like at night.
Oh, I just got all chilled. There's a lot of ghosts in this town. A lot.
There's a lot of
There
ghosts.
are a lot of
They're
ghosts in
very
that
busy.
town.
Yeah.
A lot.
And they're just
You can
everywhere.
feel them walking around.
That's why it's called.
You almost feel them
Ghost
following
Town.
you around.
Not because it's.
How many times do you think that bank's been robbed back in
Oh, that's original building,
I'm
so
sure up here
In the
is
West,
haunted
the
because
Wild,
I
Wild
feel
West.
kind of odd just looking
I mean,
up
just look
there.
at that architecture, and it's still standing. And it even looks like it could be a functioning building today. Of course, we couldn't get inside. Oh, you could,
I
all we
thought
could
that
do
was
is-
an owl. Is that a real
all
owl?
we could do is look through the windows.
Yes.
Oh my god!
Oh yeah, there
It
was
looked at
there was
me.
there was an
Oh
owl
my gosh! It looked at
living
me.
up in the
No
up in
wonder.
the rafters of that building.
Oh my gosh! No wonder it turned.
I thought it
I
was
like,
a
is that
fake.
real
You know,
owl?
you've seen fake owls up in the
Yeah.
building. I thought it was
zoom
fake.
in.
It was up in the top up there. Yep. I don't know if you can see it or not.
I
but-
tried to zoom in.
Yeah, but it's just right
Yep,
there,
there's
peeking
the
its head
owl.
out.
Yep.
It was watching us.
There's a whole. So I think we went through most of those important places here in Goldfield, right?
Yeah, the ones that we could get to. There's so many of them. Tagged
markers.
buildings with the markers that you can walk around and see all 191 of them. Yeah, that's
There's
a lot.
so many of them. Thanks for watching our video. Until next time. Bye.
So that was Goldfield, Nevada, and that was probably maybe one of our more memorable locations we've been to. Even though we just went for a day trip, I can only imagine what it must be like to be able to go into the hotel, the school, go into the courthouse, some of those other buildings just locked away.
It was so fun, and we enjoyed that opportunity to even be able to go drive up there and see it. So if you do have a chance to go there, we highly recommend it. Start a little bit early. we
If you want to do the day, do
Yeah,
it during
during
the
the
day and
day.
see everything during the day, go online, find the Goldfield Historical Society, and find their PDF that has the list of all the markers. Go around the town, see them all, because they're all different.
I hope we gave you a little bit of insight in what we did during our visit at Goldfield, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe, or maybe share with your friends or family.
And we'd love to hear your comments if you've been there. Maybe you have some more information. We'd love to hear it. We'd love to learn more about these places, whether it's before we go, during, visiting with other people, or even after the fact.
And once again, thanks for watching. Until next time, my name is Melina.
I'm Larry. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.